What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with the Daily Dirt. And at first, we're going to be doing some second stimulus check update videos because they're passing the bill today. In this video, we're going to go over some of the brand new details of the different buckets of money, the stimulus checks, the unemployment. We're going to go through some of the brand new details that have just been released. But after that, we're going to kind of get into some new hot, juicy stories and related news. My wife is going to be hosting some of the videos on the Daily Dirt, which we're really excited to do. Our main channel, the It's Jimmy channel, of course, is going to continue with our 3 stimulus check videos per day. That's going to probably continue on for a while because they're going to pass this bill. And then honestly, the Biden administration comes in and both sides have already said that they're going to need at least 1 or 2 more stimulus packages in January and February. And also Biden wants to raise the Social Security by $200 per month, $2,400. We have the $200 debit cards coming out for President Donald Trump for Medicare, Medicaid, prescription cards. We have all sorts of different, we have the rent assistance money, different states that are passing that. So yeah, we're going to definitely have a lot of stimulus news to still focus on for a while. But this channel will then break off a little bit and cover some more interesting related topics. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live. At first, we will be covering stimulus news because there's just so much to cover, and this will kind of fill in the gaps on the details that I know you guys are looking forward to with these new checks and these new unemployment. With that being said, thanks for subscribing and for liking this video down below. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. We're going to jump right in. First, we're going to hear from Senator Rand Paul, who thinks a little bit differently about the stimulus package. Then we're going to jump into some of the juicy details that have just been released. Also, make sure to watch all the way to the end because there's a lot of details in here that you're going to need to know, and it kind of helps my channel get off the ground for kind of having like a good performing video at first. So yeah, I got a lot of good stuff for you in this video.
Senator from Kentucky.
Republicans like to mock modern monetary theory, the idea that government can print money with impunity, that government can spend whatever it wants without the need to tax. Modern monetary theory is basically the Dick Cheney deficits don't matter crowd, trussed up with a new fancy title. Most Republicans rightly lampoon this quackery, that is, when they're not practicing the quackery themselves. Today, many of these same Republicans will vote for a bill that makes modern monetary theory look like child's play in comparison. The monster spending bill presented today is not just a deficits don't matter disaster, it is everything Republicans say they don't believe in. This bill is free money for everyone. Proponents don't care if you're fully employed or own your own house or own your own business. Free money for everyone, they cry. And yet, if free money were the answer, if money really grew on trees, why not give more free money? Why not give it out all the time? Why stop at $600 a person? Why not $1,000? Why not $2,000? Maybe these new free money Republicans should join the Everybody Gets a Guaranteed Income caucus. Why not $20,000 a year for everybody? Why not $30,000? If we can print up money with impunity, why not do it? The Treasury can just keep printing the money. That is, until someone points out that the emperor has no clothes and that the dollar no longer has value.
So yeah, that's the other Republican senator along with Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. Yeah. Those senators from Kentucky really do live up to their Grinch names. Rand Paul actually seems to be much worse than Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell's actually been pushing to get this package passed and was okay with having stimulus checks in there and has already said he knows there's going to be another stimulus package coming in January with the Biden administration. He congratulated Joe Biden on his Electoral College official victory now that the Electoral College did. But thankfully, these guys like Rand Paul and Senator Ron Johnson, who are just don't want to pass stimulus to people, are in the minority. Thank God that they're just a few small percentage of Congress because, man, it's just like they're almost like heartless. And remember, we go back to those studies, the US has spent less than half of what other first world countries have spent on stimulus per their GDP and per their population. The US has spent less than half as much as other first world countries have spent. And this $900 billion, of which almost 2/3 of that money, 500 and some $billion, has already been appropriated, already been spent by Congress. They're just using money that's sitting there. They're really only spending about $300 billion of new money. So we're still well behind other first world countries. So I really don't get what they're talking about. It's just like if we spend nothing, then our economy is just going to take longer and longer and longer to actually get on pace and to recover. I mean, do we really want a 2 or 3 or 4 year recovery because we didn't want to spend stimulus? And even the Fed says interest rates are at an all-time low right now. Now is actually the time to spend a stimulus, especially because we're in a once in 100-year pandemic, but also because interest rates are near an all-time low, near zero in some certain circumstances. So now is actually the time to spend. And then once our economy gets back on their feet, then obviously they can pare it down. Okay, brand new breaking information just before filming this, actually last behind my video on the It's Jimmy channel. Congress has now released the actual stimulus package bill, and it's 5,593 pages long. And they have given what seems more than like a half an hour. What AOC Andrea Ocasio-Cortez said they were only going to give a half an hour to read through the bill. It looks like they're going to have a few hours, but yeah, the bill is 5,593 pages long. Here is just a portion of the bill, 5,500 pages long. So yeah, this kind of gives us an idea of why it has taken so long. This is just absolutely insane. I mean, they're talking about $56 million and all sorts of different things in here. Luckily, I have a summary for you guys, but this shows you why it kind of takes so long to do this and to have an agreement from both sides with all the wording in this language. Okay, next up, breaking news from just a few minutes ago. The House Rules Committee advances the relief bill. Let's just go through this here. The House Rules Committee has moved the massive omnibus, which is the government shutdown portion of the bill, slash stimulus bill, out of the committee and to the floor on the U.S. House of Representatives, approving by a vote of 8-4. This will include 1 hour of floor debate. The meeting moved along quickly in an effort to get the 5,593-page bill to the floor for votes. They said, quote, "We are all that stands in the way of this bill coming to the floor and providing relief to the American people," Committee Chairman Jim McGovern said during their virtual meeting. That's not to discourage anybody from saying what they want to say, but it kind of is. Like, yeah, we have an hour to deliberate this in the House, and then we're going to vote, and just vote yes. Now, what happens next? The House will vote first to approve the rule governing floor debate. That rule will also include a 7-day stopgap, continuing resolution, to keep the government open for another week. But that is included in this bill. That will give Congress time to get the necessary paperwork over to the White House without risking a government shutdown. The Senate would then have to approve the 7-day stopgap. Under the rules, the massive spending relief package will be divided in two. There will be one floor vote on funding for commerce, which is the justice, the science, financial service, defense, and homeland security, aka the government shutdown. Then there will be another floor vote to approve the rest of the spending package that will be included in the stimulus relief bill. After the two bills are passed by the House, they then will be tied together in one giant package and sent to the Senate for the final passage. Also, the House Rules Committee is going to set up the rule for floor debate on December 28th vote to override a veto of the National Defense Authorization Act. That's that bill that we covered on the It's Jimmy channel where the president is going to veto the national defense funding bill, and they're going to try to overrule it in the House, but they're going to need a 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate. And Republicans have already said, even though they voted for this bill initially, that they're probably not going to go against President Donald Trump and try to override his veto. So even though they had enough votes before, more than 2/3, to technically do an override, that now Republicans are saying that they're not going to go against their president, so they're going to have to amend the bill. So they're going to try to override the bill first and try to override his veto in the House and the Senate. I don't expect that to pass. Then they're going to have to basically go and reword the bill to get it to President Donald Trump's liking, to get that clause out of there, that provision that basically social media companies like Twitter can censor other people at whatever they deem, that companies like Twitter and the Facebook can basically censor anybody they want for whatever they determine should be censored based on whatever they consider fake news or anything like that. And President Donald Trump doesn't think that should be right. And he's basically vetoing this bill to make that not be possible in the future. So we'll have to see what happens. I will keep you updated on that also, because it basically is going to shut down the uh, armed forces, the military, and the defenses of the United States if they don't pass this bill. Okay, next up, let's go over some of the new information of what is in this stimulus package now that they have released the bill and their summaries out, because where else you can read through the 5,593-page bill. That should be fun. Okay, here's the different buckets of money in this stimulus package. Remember, there's several different buckets of money, not just the stimulus checks and the unemployment benefits. Let's go over some of these. The stimulus checks are $600 and an additional $600 per child, which is $100 more than families gave in the last relief bill. Couple details on that I have. Number one, it looks like the stimulus checks for children will be under the age of 17. So 17 and I'm sorry, 16 and under will get the $600. It looks like 17 will be the cutoff. Adult dependents are not going to receive the stimulus checks as far as we know at this point in this bill, which is pretty much the same as the last stimulus package. Also, $75,000 is the cutoff to get the full $600. And it looks like there's going to be a reduction if you make over $75,000 of a $5 reduction per $100 that you made on your tax return. So basically, up to $87,000, you will get a reduced stimulus check. After $87,000, if you make more than $87,000, you will not be getting a stimulus check at all. That is $174,000 for a married filing jointly tax return. So $600 stimulus checks for adults and for children. The stimulus check is not taxed. Unemployed people, it does look like unemployed people are going to get this stimulus check. So that's good news, because initially we were hearing some rumors just up until the last few days that Republicans didn't want people to be able to double dip, is what they call it. Basically, if you're on unemployment and you're going to get the $300 per week unemployment extension, which is $1,200 per month, that you wouldn't be able to get the $1,200 per month unemployment and the $600 stimulus checks. It looks like you are going to be able to get that now, so which is similar to the last plan. That's how the last plan was. So if you're on unemployment, you will be able to get the $600 stimulus check in addition to the unemployment. On the unemployment, $300 per week of a federal bonus money in addition to any states, and it came out to 11 weeks. So it will start from the end of December through March 14th under the deal. So I don't worry about this dates particularly if you still have unemployments past then, because I fully expect them to extend this possibly in the first or second stimulus package that they're going to pass next year in January or February. So I wouldn't really worry about this date too long if your unemployment benefits are going that long. Also, the agreement calls for extensions of two other unemployment packages, the pandemic unemployment programs and the PEUC, which were under the CARES Act. Both are set to currently expire at the end of this week and are affecting an estimated 12 million people. So basically, all the unemployment packages are going to be extended at this point with the $300 per week. So if you're self-employed or you're a gig worker, your unemployment will continue at this point going forward. The PEUC, the Pandemic Employment Unemployment Compensation Program, provides an additional 13 weeks of payments to those that exhaust their regular state benefits. This is basically like an extension there. Both programs will close to new applicants on March 14th, but will continue through April 5th for existing claimants who have not yet reached the maximum of 50 weeks. Also, the deal provides a federally funded $100 per week additional benefit to those that have at least $5,000 in annual self employment income but are disqualified from receiving the pandemic unemployment assistance because they are eligible for regular state unemployment benefits. So basically, if you have a side hustle and you're getting unemployment, you would get an additional $100 per week here to kind of, if you have a side hustle and a regular job, to kind of help you make up for some of that money you're losing in your side hustle because your unemployment will be based on your regular job most likely. This bill will also continue full federal financing of extending benefits through mid-March, providing up to 20 additional weeks of payments depending on a state's unemployment rate. Typically, states and federal governments split the tab. Fewer than 24 states now offer extended benefits because of the improving economy. There's also another round of PPP program and the EIDL program. So if you have a small business, you know anybody that does, or if you have a side hustle where you drive for Uber, you drive for Lyft, you sell products on Amazon, or you get 1099, you can possibly get money from the Paycheck Protection Program or the EIDL program, which is going to get funding also. These are applied to 300 or less employees. Basically, companies that have 300 or less employees. If you're just an independent contractor, you yourself count as the one employee that have seen drops of at least 25% of their revenue during the first, second, or third quarter of 2020. It will also reduce the amount a borrower can get from $10 million down to $2 million and will give businesses more flexibility on how they can spend the money and simplify the forgiveness process for loans under $150,000. So basically, if you get one of these PPP loans for your small business or your side hustle, and it's less than $150,000, which is a tremendous amount, you have a simplified forgiveness program where you don't have to repay this back, and that's basically what is already in place now, and it makes it very easy for you to basically just get this money as a grant for your small business. I will be going over more details of that in future episodes, so make sure you're subscribed and subscribe to my other channel. It's Jimmy. If you haven't yet, I'll put the link down below in the description also for that channel. Okay, there's $82 billion in here for school, which is really great. Let's talk about the rental assistance. I have some additional information here in a second. But this says the bill will extend until January 31st the eviction moratorium protection set to expire at the end of the year. That's great news. It will also provide $25 billion in rent assistance for individuals like you who lost their sources of income during the pandemic. So I have a little bit of additional information on the rent assistance programs in here. We're going to be walking you through how to claim the additional money for rent assistance. This is the same thing that these states and cities are passing, where they're paying you thousands of dollars to basically pay for your rent. Going forward, there's going to be rent assistance in this stimulus package from the federal government also. Okay, so it looks like there's going to be a priority for certain people for rent assistance. The first people are going to be households that their income of the household does not exceed 50% of your area's median income. So if you want to know how to figure that out, you Google your area, your city, and put median income, and it'll come up with a median income of probably around $50,000. I mean, but it varies because if you're in a high cost of living area, it can be a lot more. So the first priorities will be either you have a lower income, basically a below 50% of the median income, or one or more individuals in the household is currently or has been unemployed. Those people will get priority for the rent assistance money. Again, once they pass this bill tonight, I will be walking you through in the next couple days how to claim these different buckets of money. You will need to apply to your state or your county, most likely, to claim this rent assistance money. Also, a couple more notes here. The stimulus check is not taxed, similar to the first stimulus check. So it's basically tax-free money, which makes it actually worth a little bit more than the $600 of what you're getting. On the PPP is also going to be tax-free. Plus, you can write off your PPP expenses that you pay, for example, using the money for your employees. So basically, say you got a $10,000 PPP loan, that money is tax free. And then as you spend the money on your employees, say you spend $10,000 on you, you could be an employee basically to pay your salary, or your other employees, you get to actually write that off. So it's really, really amazing programs that you get the money tax free, then you get to write off the money that you spend for the PPP program, which is pretty awesome. Nutrition assistance. This deal will raise SNAP benefits by 15% for 6 months, but will not expand the eligibility. This is more generous than the original bipartisan agreement from December, which only called for a 4-month increase. This bill will also expand the pandemic EBT program to families with children under the age of 6 who receive food stamps, deem them, quote, enrolled in childcare and eligible for benefits. It now provides money to low-income families with school-age children in lieu of free and reduced price meals that they would have received in school. The deal also sent $400 million to food banks and food pantries across the United States. It will also provide $175 million in nutrition services for seniors, such as Meals on Wheels, and $13 million for the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, which serves more than 700,000 older Americans monthly. We also have $20 billion in here for vaccine and hospital funding, which is desperately needed as the vaccine is already rolling out and all that costs money. We also have a payroll tax repayment. Employers who are deferring their workers' payroll taxes under Trump's executive action from August now have until the end of 2021 to increase their employees' withholding to pay back the taxes owed. Originally, the deferment had to be repaid back on April 30th. No mention on if that payroll tax deferment will be waived or will be not need to be paid back yet at this point. And yes, the main thing not in this bill is the state and local government funding, which we've already heard from both sides that they expect that to be in the next stimulus package next month. In addition to another round of stimulus checks, likely $600 to $1,200 again next month. It's almost kind of like they just wanted to get this deal done, get the $600 out now, which was basically the money for states and cities. That's kind of how they came up with that number. They took the money for states and cities and they spent that $600 on checks for the American people. And we've heard from both sides that it's not enough, including Republicans. So we're expecting to see another round of stimulus checks next month, $600 to $1,200, and money for states and cities and liability protections for Republicans. The states and cities is mostly for Democrats. The liability protections is for Republicans, and the stimulus checks are for the people. So make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon on to all notifications. Don't forget to give this video a like. This video is my newest video on this channel, and this over here is my newest stimulus check video on the It's Jimmy channel. If you're not subscribed there, click that and go watch that and subscribe to that channel also, as I will be providing updates for you guys on the stimulus checks and how to claim these different buckets of money going forward. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.